Agriculture. Let me see if I can remember all of them. Minister of Agriculture, Mining, and Fisheries. That's the Honorable Floyd Green. I want to get it right. So, okay. The man who continues to put heads to beds. The Minister of Tourism, the man who has owned, he has honed, H-O-N-E-D, as if he is the owner. He has owned this portfolio for some time. The Honorable Edmund Bartlett, as cool as a cucumber. How are you, sir? Good. We acknowledge as well the President-elect, who is soaking wet. No, it's serious. The conditions are so balmy that I don't know how you all did that, because you walked, what, quite a distance, Prime Minister, right around, in regular clothing as opposed to Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Golding. At this time, according to the run, because I know that the Prime Minister has other engagements, even on this, what is supposed to be a holiday. That's why he's the Prime Minister. He can deal with that. And in fact, it's your time, Mr. Prime Minister. Oh, not yet. Okay. Just checking. Just checking. All right. All right, so we're going to include Franklin Witter. I did mention the Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett. Okay, so you want to be next. Okay. Okay, can you handle it? Now okay, thank you very much. All right, so yes, I did that. Sorry. Sure.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Are you hearing me over here? Are you hearing me over there? Are you hearing me over there? Are you hearing me over there? Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Darren Grant, the Deputy CEO of the Jamaica Agriculture Society, and I'm just assisting my dear friend, Dervon Malcolm. At this point, we'll have Mr. Colonel Ogilvy, Vice President of Agro. Is he here? Oh, he's coming soon. Minister Bartlett, and can you come now, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ogilvy, and to my most honorable boss, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Most Honorable Andrew Holness, the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Mark Golding, our Minister of Agriculture, Mining and Fisheries, Honorable Floyd Green, and a very special welcome to my new friend and perhaps my definitely nearest neighbor in the business of driving tourism in the Caribbean, the Cayman Islands Premier Julianne O'Connell. Let us give her a very special round of applause, and our Minister of Agriculture that is here with us today. And I just wanted quickly to say, Premier, that your Minister of Tourism is my friend. And we work very closely together to build tourism in the Caribbean, and what a job is being done overall. So quickly, because our Prime Minister and a number of us have to go somewhere else later on, but tourism and agriculture are joined by the hip. There's a symbiotic relationship between us, for the simple reason that 42% of the expenditure of visitors to the country is on F-O-O-D, food. And agriculture is the basis for food. So if we earned $4.3 billion last year, do the math, 42% of that is on food. So if we are able to produce the food that the visitors want, then 42% of their expenditure will stay in Jamaica immediately. But we've been working on it. And Minister Green and myself have been in tandem on this. RADA has been very close with us. Our linkages network has been very closely tied to the whole production process, and we have invested in agriculture technology. We have established a platform called Alex, and I'm proud to tell you that on that platform are small farmers, 3 acres, 1.5 acres there, my friend. Akiva Bush, how could I miss you out? And on that platform, last year alone, 4.3 million kilos of products were passed through to the tourism sector and $452 million was spent by our products into the university activities of agriculture across Jamaica. I'm excited about that. But the year before, and the year before, and we started 5 years ago, the good news is that over 1 billion Jamaican dollars have been traded on the platform between our small farmers, not the big guys, the small farmers, and our tourism sector across Jamaica. But we have some big farmers that we have created from scratch. In strawberry, where's the strawberry farmer? You see him over there? Big farmer now, driving Benz and all that. Yes, and when he started, we started like that. Now he's like this, and that's what tourism does. So we want to say two things, Prime Minister, before we say Tata. Resilience is at the heart of what makes us able to respond to challenges, to overcome challenges, to manage challenges, and to thrive after challenges. And that resilience, tourism has worked with agriculture very effectively over the last few years to build out. We've invested in it. We've invested in small arrangements for farmers for water security and water resilience. We've looked at the whole business of small technology and how it can be applied and utilized so that when the light goes, we can still function. When the water goes, we can still function. And the reason we do this is that tourism is the most consumption-driven activity on planet Earth. That's all we do. We consume 24/7. So when we say to agriculture, we need eggs, we need it 24/7. When we say we need tomatoes, we need it 24/7. When we say we need meat and fish and milk and all the other consumables, we need them 24/7. So together, we are building that resilience to ensure that notwithstanding disruptions, we are going to be able to produce 24/7 so we can consume 24/7. And the next time the leader of the opposition gets to speak, he will acknowledge properly that tourism drives a heavier punch in the economy than remittances. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, Minister Bartlett, for the endorsement, and strawberry season begins in November 2024 at Family Farm JA. Thank you very much. At this time, we'll have His Worship, the Mayor Councillor Joel Williams, representing MP Lester Mike Henry.
Protocol being observed, I want to take this opportunity quickly, I know my Prime Minister has to leave, to welcome everyone to this Denbigh show, despite the challenges that we would have faced over the last month. Prime Minister, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, my friend Frank, Minister Bartlett, and of course, Leader of the Opposition and Custos Rotulorium, Mrs. Edith. I take this opportunity to greet you this afternoon on behalf of the Honorable Michael Henry, who is not here with us. And so I take it to welcome our brothers and sisters who are visiting here from Cayman Island. You're welcome. I want to welcome all the citizens in and around Maypen and of course by extension Jamaica. Despite the challenges of the hurricane burial, we are able to gather here this day in such a wonderful number. For only one day, it shows that agriculture is on the rebound. And with that, I welcome you, I greet you well, and I hope that for the rest of the afternoon, you will have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Joel Williams. Colonel Jamie Ogilvie from IPRO, Vice President IPRO. I know I see him coming up the stairs. Let us welcome him, the title sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies, Honorable Prime Minister, other members of the Cabinet, distinguished guests. Good to see some familiar faces. Leader of the Opposition. Good afternoon and welcome to all of you, members of the media. Denbigh is everything good about agriculture in Jamaica. That has been our firm belief at HiPro. That's why we have remained title sponsor for all these years. It is well known that when agriculture's contribution to GDP grows, the economy grows. And there could not be even a greater reason for us to continue our support to Denbigh this year, given what has happened. We at HiPro are committed to helping our farmers grow and grow back stronger. Right? Yes, Beryl has had a significant impact on the sector, but Jamaica's farmers have proven time and time again to be even more resilient than any challenge that we have ever faced. And we have seen that this year already. In the week immediately following Beryl, we saw farmers planting and putting crops back in the ground, putting chickens back in their coops. And we salute our farmers because of their resilience and their interest to this country. We can give them a better round of applause than that, you know. Farmers are the backbone of our country, believe you me. And certainly I want to commend the JS and the Ministry for insisting on going ahead with Denbigh. Yes, we have to scale it down, but it was a decision that we are seeing the results of. And certainly we know that as the day continues to unfold, people realize the benefit of us having Denbigh. And we want to congratulate the team for making sure that Denbigh went ahead. And farmers, rest assured, HiPro is with you. We have already been out in the field. I think we've provided support somewhere in the tune of about $35 million of inputs, especially to our small chicken farmers who were affected at a time that could have affected their back-to-school plans for their families. We have given away over 140,000 baby chicks to small farmers across the island. And we know that that's critical for back to school. And we're going to continue the level of support that we've been putting out there, because we know that with just a little support, you can turn it and get back into production, so that by the time Christmas comes around and the peak of the winter tourist season, our agricultural production will be back up to levels where we can really have a meaningful impact. Thank you all for coming out today, and we look forward to sharing. Come and visit us at our booth over there. We'll hear more about how to be resilient for disasters of every type and to be productive. And we look forward to sharing some more time with you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Colonel. And for the record again, they are our title sponsor, HiPro. I just want to recognize the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Dermot Spence, who just walked in. This couldn't be possible without him and the team at the Ministry of Agriculture. At this time, we'll have the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Floyd Green, MP, to come and see us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Darren Grant, our standing chairperson, Mr. Dervin Malcolm, Prime Minister, Minister Bartlett, Minister Witter, Leader of the Opposition Golding, of course my colleague Minister from Cayman, starting firstly our Premier, who did such a wonderful job. Can we have a round of applause for the Premier from the Cayman Islands? Wonderful, wonderful speech. Minister Evans, I almost mentioned you as a part of our own local setup, because you are really a friend of Jamaica and have been here with us many a times. Mayor Williams, other distinguished guests, Sir Dobson and the JIS team, spokesperson Campbell, of course Permanent Secretary Spence and our Chief Technical Directors from the Ministry. I know a number of MPs are here, MP Sibley's. I know a number of chairpersons of our agencies are here, members of the media. Of course, we couldn't do this without HiPro, so Mr. Ogilvy and the team. Ladies and gentlemen, farmers, fishers, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, happy independence. Can we give Jamaica a big round of applause? We are 62 years old. And you lick him down, you pick him up. Pick him up, you lick him down. Bounce right back. What a hard man for that. I'm extremely happy to be here at the 70th staging of the Denbigh Agricultural Industrial Food Show. Honestly, I could not be any prouder of the tenacity of our farmers, fishers, exhibitors, the Denbigh team, the JS staff, the ministry team for pulling together Denbigh 70. I think they all deserve a big, big, big round of applause. Having seen the devastation of Hurricane Beryl, a number of people thought that this would not be possible. But we knew that if we put our shoulders to the wheel, if we put our faith and confidence in our farmers, if we work together with our private sector partners, then we could stage Denbigh 70th. And it shows that at the Ministry of Agriculture, along with the JS, we're going to prioritize what is in the best interest of our farmers. And the best interest of our farmers is to recover stronger and is to recover quickly. You know, Hurricane Beryl came at the worst possible time for our agricultural sector. Not only had we gone through 2 strong years of growth, last year we started with our worst drought in our history. And then we had our highest temperatures ever recorded. But our farmers fought through that, and by the end of last year, agriculture was growing again. We started this year with over 7% growth. We were putting more hectares into production. We were being more productive on the hectares that we already produce. Our farmers were looking to reap significant dividends. And then Hurricane Beryl came. It has impacted over 48,000 farmers, 11,000 fishers, has damaged our most productive parishes of St. Elizabeth, Clarendon, and Manchester. But it hasn't stopped there, because St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, our banana and plantain farmers, our small poultry farmers, we lost over 300,000 birds to Hurricane Beryl. About 90% of our banana and plantain crop has been destroyed. Over 236 greenhouse structures were destroyed by Hurricane Beryl. But you know, as the Prime Minister and I moved around the Thursday after Beryl and we interacted with some farmers, they said clearly, we don't have no control over what God does. So just provide us with the support and we will get back out there. So I want you to clap our farmers and fishers who already are back out there in the field doing what they love. And what we decided to do from the ministry was to reallocate some sums that we had, $700 million, to ensure that we would start the recovery process. And as a part of that recovery process, we determined that it was important for us also to have a Denbigh show. But I tell you, Prime Minister, you may not know, within 2 weeks of Hurricane Beryl, we were able to call farmers and start distributing seeds. In fact, we have already procured over 10,000 packages of seeds that we have started to distribute across Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, and Manchester. Already over 1,000 farmers have received support directly from the government. This is the quickest response to any major natural disaster of any government. We already have procured 5,000 bags of fertilizer, and with the help of First Hand, we have an additional 2,000 bags, and we started that distribution last week in Manchester, and we're going to continue that. In fact, today, as a part of Denbigh, 400 farmers will get direct support from the Ministry of Agriculture. We've spread it around, so we have farmers from every parish who will get input support from the Ministry of Agriculture. I think that deserves another round of applause. But I had said that the 700 million was just our preliminary response. And the difference with the government of today than governments of the past is that we have managed our financial affairs in a way that we can respond quickly, strategically, and we can put more funds to the response effort. So I want to thank the Prime Minister. I want to thank the members of the Cabinet. I want to thank the Minister of Finance and the team, because today I'm able to announce that we are going to allocate an additional $1.4 billion to help rebuild the agriculture and fisheries sector. Of that $1.4 billion, we're going to help our fishing beaches. A number of our fishing beaches suffered significant damage. In fact, about 25 gear sheds were destroyed in Rocky Point. And we're allocated $100 million to rehabilitate our fishing beaches. Not to build it back like it was, but to build it back better, so that it can withstand natural disasters of this nature. We're going to be focusing on Rocky Point, Bournemouth, Old Harbour Bay, and down in St. Elizabeth as well. We have already allocated $55 million towards our greenhouse farmers. And I'm here to tell our greenhouse farmers that we're going to allocate an additional $100 million to help you get back on your feet so that you can do what you love. We're also going to be putting some resources to build out our storage capacity. One of the challenges we have in natural disasters, we say to our farmers, go out, harvest what you can so that the storm don't destroy it. But unfortunately, the farmers harvest, but then they have nowhere to store it. We're going to be building out solar-powered storage capacity so that when you harvest for a storm, you can put it up and we can have it after the storm. So we're going to use some of that $1.4 billion towards those things. So I say to our farmers and fishers that we are standing with you in this time. I want to commend the RADA team who has been all over. I know they haven't seen everybody, but I know even the day after the storm, I had one extension officer who lost his roof and left his house to go and visit farmers to see how they were doing. Let us give our RADA team a big round of applause. I know it's a heavy load, Marina, but we have to push on. Our NIC, our Bodles team, as we continue to treat with some of the new realities. I heard the leader of the opposition speak about cocoa. One of the real challenges that we face in cocoa was the frosty pod disease. That is what caused the decline of our cocoa industry. And one of the things that we have seen over the years, unfortunately, is that we were not invested enough in our research capacity to adequately treat with the onset of diseases. So when these diseases came about in the late 90s, the early 2000s, we never had the capacity to really treat with that. We have put billions now to Bodles. In fact, Cabinet has approved a $6 billion program to really rehabilitate not just Bodles, but our research stations over the next 6 years. So that when we see diseases, like now our farmers are treated with yam rust, and we've already allocated $9 million to help them treat with that yam rust disease, we are better able to treat with these occurrences. So, in concluding, yes, it is true that our sectors have suffered a significant battery. But you know, Jamaicans are some of the strongest people in the world. And if you were to pick out a subset of Jamaica, nobody is stronger than our farmers and our fishers. Despite any eventuality, we are willing to go back out there and do what needs to be done. So I stand here to say we will stand with you to ensure that we build back better, that we build back stronger, but importantly, that we build back quickly. And as I close, let me thank our mining sector, because even though they have not been negatively impacted directly, I must speak about their contributions. And between the Jamaica Bauxite Institute and the Jamaica Bauxite Mining Company, they have already put $40 million towards the recovery efforts. I want us to give them a big round of applause because they're helping our farmers and fishers build back stronger. Enjoy the rest of Denbigh. It is looking good. It is nice to see everybody out in their Jamaican colors. No matter what they do, they can't hold it down. We will keep moving from strength to strength. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Minister Green. At this time, we'll have Honorable Edith Chin, CDJP, Coastal Structural Lorem of Clarendon, representing the Governor General. Can I give her a welcome, please?
Thank you. His Excellency the Governor General regrets he's unable to be present at this 70th Annual Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show. The privilege is mine to represent him and deliver his greeting. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly, Premier of the Cayman Islands and her team, the Honorable Lester Mike Henry, represented by His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Joel Williams, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Mr. Lenworth Fulton, President JAS, Mr. Owen Dobson, President-elect JAS, Colonel Jamie Ogilvie, Vice President of HIPRO, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I stand before you today with immense pleasure as we gather to celebrate the 70th staging of the Denbigh Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show. Despite the devastating effects of Hurricane Beryl, our resilient nation has made remarkable strides in rebuilding, allowing us to come together for this significant event. Today we honor the hard-working farmers and agricultural workers who are the backbone of our nation's sustenance. We recognize the immense challenges you have faced in the wake of the storm. Rebuilding your farms, investing your time, effort, and resources, only to see your hard work undone. We're here to support and stand with you in solidarity. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to the Jamaica Agricultural Society and the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining for their unwavering commitment to making this event possible despite the obstacles. The Denbigh Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show is a testament to the rich agricultural traditions of Jamaica. It shines a spotlight on the invaluable contributions of our farmers and agro-producers to nation building and national development. Denbigh is more than just an event. It is a platform that offers a viable market for exhibitors and an opportunity for farmers and agro-processors to explore new business initiatives. This is particularly vital for our rural communities as it generates economic traction and growth. Agriculture remains the cornerstone of the Jamaican economy. This year's theme, Building Back Through Resilience, is fitting as it embodies the tenacity and determination required to rebuild and thrive. The nation depends on our farmers, and we stand ready to support you through these challenging times. Together, we will strengthen our agricultural sector and reclaim what was lost. Technological advancements are pivotal in regaining strength in this sector. Smart farming techniques such as precision agriculture optimize crop yields, reduce waste, and ensure sustainable practices. Innovations like drones and AI-driven analytics empower farmers to be more efficient, empower farmers, monitor crop health, soil conditions, and weather patterns, leading to more efficient and productive farming. Despite the resilience of our agricultural sector, there is an undeniable preference among Jamaicans for imported goods. I commend the Jamaica Agricultural Society for the Eat Jamaican campaign, which encourages us to prioritize local produce. Our farmers continue to supply high-quality produce, and embracing modern agricultural technologies will further elevate the quality and quantity of our local products, positioning Jamaica as a leader in innovative and sustainable farming. I extend my best wishes for a successful staging of Denbigh 24 2024, let us all contribute to creating a world-class agricultural sector in Jamaica. Enjoy this year's Denbigh Show, and happy Independence Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Edith Chin, Custos Rotolorum of Clarendon. At this time, we will have the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. Let us welcome him, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. It is always a pleasure to address our farmers at Denbigh. It is our Independence Day. It's a special day for Jamaica. We are now 62 years old. Denbigh is a little bit older at 70. The two things are connected because you can't really say that you're independent if you can't feed yourself. So our farmers are critical to our independence. In the 70s, we used to use a term called self-reliance. How many of you remember that? Self-reliance. We must rely on our own resources to satisfy our needs. Indeed, self-reliance was a buzzword at that time. Mark Golding would not know that. I'm just teasing the leader of the opposition. Indeed, it was a word, a term championed by Michael Manley. Yes, sir, I was in short pants then. But my father, who is still a farmer, would always talk about this self-reliance. So from very early in my life, I realized the connection between our independence as a people, our pride, our ability to stand on our own, that it is connected and rests upon our ability to feed ourselves. If the ships stop coming and the aircraft stop flying, we're not going to starve and die. So it is not by coincidence that we are always celebrating our agricultural independence with our national independence. The two things are inextricably tied together. But I want to update this term of self-reliance. I want to introduce another term to our vocabulary that I want our farmers to adopt and to use. It's a term that is already there in some sense. We say we're little, but we're talawa. Yes, we are small, but we are brave in facing challenges and overcoming them. I want you to upgrade that a little bit now by adopting the term resilience. I want you to say that word, resilience. 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 We are a resilient people. Now what it means? Sound like a big word, but it is not really. Resilience is the characteristic, the nature of an entity to be able to quickly recover from a shock, adversity, a disaster, a crisis, but not just to recover from it, but to recover stronger. There is a sense, particularly in our younger generations, that there mustn't be any trouble in the world, that everything must be smooth sailing, everything must be curated, and everything can be easily customized. There is no challenge. But we know that life is not like that. That there are going to be things that happen to us that we didn't plan for. Things are going to happen that we didn't know it would happen. Life is filled with unknown quantities. And they are going to happen, and they are going to create problems for us. But those crises that are created also bring opportunities to change the way how we were doing things before, to bring in new ways of doing things that were better than the old ways. So we must not look upon challenges and adversity with a fear. What we must do as a resilient people, or people who we naturally believe in our tallowness, is that we must prepare for challenge, prepare for crises, prepare for adversity. And if you are a farmer, you know that one day the storm is going to come. You know that a drought is going to come. You know that some pestilence is going to come and attack your crop, or some disease is going to affect your livestock. And with this knowledge, what you must do is prepare. And how do we prepare? One, we must always gather information. We must always gather information. And the government is going to help you to be prepared through RADA and its extension services. That is what they are doing when they come and they show you the next new technology, the next new practice. It's about sharing that information with you to get you prepared. Another way in which we prepare is that we store and save. And that is an area in Jamaican agriculture that we don't do too well in. One year we have a boom crop, and we don't store the surplus. As they say, we don't can it. Next year, nothing. We have to import, price gone up. So in our preparations to be resilient, we have to store and save for a period of time when we don't have a lot. The other way that we prepare to be resilient as a people is that we must build infrastructure. And I want my farmers now to listen to this carefully. Because whenever you hear the word infrastructure, you think it's something that government must do. It's so big that I don't have nothing to do with infrastructure. Infrastructure represents those kinds of permanent investment that allow you to plant and reap in an efficient way. So for example, we see a lot of infrastructure now being developed in greenhouses. a lot of infrastructure being developed in poultry, whether it's a little backyard coop that can take 200, 300 chicken, or the big houses, chicken houses, tunnel houses, they call them. Infrastructure. When we are building the infrastructure, including the farm roads, including the irrigation, that's what you call infrastructure. That's the permanent investment that you lay that gives you several cycles of reaping and planting. When we are building those infrastructure, we must build them knowing that a storm is going to come, that will tear up the shade cloth, that will blow off the sheet of zinc on the coop, that will flood your fields, that will wash off the mall on the farm road. And therefore it means that we can't just build infrastructure that won't withstand disaster. So those are 3 areas of preparedness for a crisis. But the government itself, my dear farmers, must build resilience, because some crisis is going to happen in government. Now let me tell you, not every government can deal with crisis. Some governments are just dry weather government. Them only can operate when there is no crisis. And Jamaica has had its fair share of governments that were not prepared to deal with challenges and crises. Why? Why? Well, a part of it is that we never dealt with our finances in such a way that when crises strike, you are able to address them. This administration has rearranged its fiscal affairs in order to be able to deal with crises and shocks. I want to make a point to my farmers. Many of you have what they call it the almanac, and you swear by it according to the weather. You look at the full moon and the this and the that. Well, let me share a little knowledge with you. Time change. The weather now is quite different from the weather 10 years ago, from the weather 20 years ago, from the weather 30 years ago. The hottest day ever recorded on Earth was on the 22nd of July, 2024. My birthday. The hottest day ever recorded on Earth. The hottest day ever recorded in Jamaica was in, I believe, June 2019. The temperature is changing. And it is not just random variability. It is a trend which is leading to a long-term change in the climate. So things that you thought would happen 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you can't use that knowledge to predict what is going to happen in the future because our climate has changed. Something that all farmers need to pay attention to. When we used to get weather events that you could consider them once in 50 years, you now get these weather events once every 10 years. I want you for 2 minutes, no more than that, to think back in the last 8 years on the number of weather crises that we have faced. Just think back on it. 8 years. Almost every year we have had a drought that is of significance, that it has affected your agriculture, particularly if you live in St. Elizabeth and Clarendon. Almost every year there is a drought. That wasn't the case before. almost every year we have had a rain incident that has led to flooding, which has delivered more rain than the average rainfall for the year. For the last 8 years, almost every 2 years, we have had a tropical depression hit Jamaica, which has had a budgetary impact. Whether it's Hurricane Zeta, Eta, whether it is the outer bands of Matthew and Irma and all of those. We are living in a period of time where you can expect to have frequent, multiple, and overlapping crises, whether it is from the weather or a pandemic. Let's look at the pandemic quickly, my farmers. We had a pandemic, and then what happened immediately after the pandemic? We had a disruption in supply chains, which led to inflation. And then immediately after that, we had a war in the Ukraine, which further led to energy price shocks. And all of that is happening with weather events. And all of those things are impacting on the government budget. When the government go to Parliament and read the budget, and then some weather event happen, the government has to divert the resources. So in the past, when we've said the budget is X and something happened, we have to take out some of that budget and spend on the disaster. So that means that things that we planned to do were disrupted by things that we did not plan for. So the irrigation that you wanted, the farm road that you wanted, the bridge that you wanted, couldn't get done. Because whether it is an economic shock because of a depression, a weather shock because of hurricane, heavy rain, drought, or some global pandemic, we have had to be diverting. And that has been Jamaica's experience. And that's why Jamaica hasn't grown. And that is why our infrastructure has not improved. Because the revenues that we generate are constantly being diverted into treating with unplanned eventualities. We decided as an administration to change this and to introduce resiliency into our financial management. And what we did, we have a couple of years where we generated some small surpluses. We put that into our disaster fund. We invested in insurance and we created surpluses. So when a disaster happens, as Beryl, we don't have to wait on anybody. We don't have to beg anybody. We don't have to scrounge around looking. But most importantly, we do not have to divert resources from our capital budget to deal with recovery. I'm going to concretize that point in the minds of the farmers. Right now, Hurricane Beryl has struck. But we are not stopping the capital budget for the Essex Valley Irrigation Project. No, we're not stopping that. That's a massive project. We're not stopping the capital budget for the Southern Plains Irrigation Project. No, we're not stopping that. That is going on. Right now, Jamaica has about 12 to 13% of its arable land irrigated. If you want to get serious about agriculture, you need to have about 50% of your arable lands with irrigation, capital investment. Now, with the Southern Plains irrigation and with the Essex Valley and with some other things we're doing with Pedro Plains, we will probably add another 5 to 7% of irrigation to our arable land. Now, that is what you call a massive infrastructure investment that is going to make more farmers be able to produce more. That is the essence of being resilient and independent. It is a substantial difference from what happened in the past and what is happening now. A lot of people won't see it. They won't understand it. It's not tangible in front of them. But that is how countries develop. Countries develop when they are faced with challenges and crises, but it does not derail their long-term development plan. Jamaica is now on that pathway that if we are faced with challenges and crises, we can still maintain our long-term development plan. That is a fundamental difference in Jamaica. Jamaica is not the same as it was 10 years ago. Jamaica is in a better place. So, the $800 million that Minister Green is planning to spend on improving agricultural roads, particularly in the Blue Mountains to support coffee, that money is not going to be diverted to give fertilizers to farmers, which is what would have happened if we did not have this reserve. We would have had to go recast the capital budget to support these kinds of recovery efforts. That doesn't happen today. And I want every single farmer to appreciate this. This is a fundamental and important difference which is going to improve your quality of life. As I close my presentation to you, I want to thank our partners and friends and neighbors in Cayman, Premier O'Connor Connolly, and her team, and as he has been described as the unofficial ambassador to official. Oh Lord. Dr. the Honorable Makiva Bush and the Minister of Agriculture from Cayman. I want to thank you for attending this event. You are regular attendees, and I must say that Jamaica received significant support from the international community. Cayman supported the government with relief supplies and some computers, and I tell you, it is very much well received and appreciated, and we want to say thank you. Several countries have supported us, including the United Nations have supported us and other multilateral entities, and again, we want to say thanks. I particularly want to acknowledge the corporate entities that have supported us. I see Hypro is here. You know what? I don't want to get into calling names. Problems, I don't call names. But look, if I didn't call your name, see me afterwards at the next place I call your name. But I have to say, Rainforest Seafood and the NCB Foundation, well, they're all here. I'm not going to call it TEF, I'm not going to call Heart, but I will call St. Jago Farm Store. They have been giving as well. And the local philanthropy, Mark. If there's one thing you can say about us as Jamaicans, right? Our corporate philanthropy is significant. Our private sector, thankfully, doesn't sit by and say, changed employment patterns. People changed the way in which they consume. People became more health conscious, and that changed market and production patterns. But it also affected, in a significant way, the cost of living. Food, in particular, became more expensive. And in Jamaica, that was the case. Immediately after the pandemic, we saw a steep rise in inflation. And that has impacted how particularly poor households are able to survive. If one day you went to the supermarket and your basket of goods was $10,000, and the next week that you go, it's 12, and the next week that you go is 14, and the next week that you go is 15, you're paying more money and probably getting less goods. When you go home, you're vexed. You're vexed. And who you going vexed with? Who you vexed with? Eh? Who you curse? Who for fault? Poor government have nothing to do with it. But obviously, we are the ones you elect to treat with this situation. An external shock. We didn't have anything to do with it. But an external global event occurred, which changed the structure of the economy, which caused prices to rise. It's not just here in Jamaica, everywhere in the world. For those of you who travel, you will see it. And it has made consumers miserable, as I said, upset, angry. But government has a role to play in this, even though government didn't cause it. But government has a role to play in it. And it is a part of the resiliency agenda. Because the truth is, if we were producing more of our food locally, you follow me now, farmers, if we were producing more of our food locally and producing more of it, the prices would not be so susceptible to global price movements. That is the reality. So you know what we need to do to build resilience? We need to start producing more of the foods that we consume locally and produce more of it. So I have given an instruction to the Minister of Agriculture as part of our food security and resilience to come up by April 2025 with a national plan to build resiliency in agriculture, which would include increasing the local production of goods here in Jamaica using Jamaican input and Jamaican resources, to increase our processing capabilities for food, to increase our storage capabilities for food, to increase the financing available to small and medium-sized and large farmers, because we must start to treat agriculture as a business and not only as a passion. The minister has already started. He has secured funding to bring in the consultant. And I don't want another study that is going to be put on file 13. As we work out the pathways to resiliency, we are going to start implementing. And that means that whatever we agree to do, we are going to put it in the budget so it goes through the public investment process, so it gets on the train line of projects that will not be disturbed. Because as I have said to you today, on our Independence Day, agriculture is about our independence. That is what, look here, when our athletes do well, and we smile and we laugh and we say, good, is the same way you're going to feel when you go in the supermarket and the price keep going down and down and down, and the quality goes up and up. And it's not just starch and sugar, but quality nutrition that you're getting is the same way you're going to feel proud of your country and proud of yourself, because you realize, Lord, Jamaica can feed itself. So my farmers, my Jamaicans, on our Independence Day, God bless you, and God bless Jamaica land we love.
Thank you very much, Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, for giving the main address for this evening. I want to take this opportunity at this time to recognize our President in absence, Mr. Leonard Fulton, who is represented by President-elect Mr. Owen Dobson. At this time, we will have